BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
So why don't we just get rolling with it? We've kind of already done that, but introduce yourself real quick and let everyone know who haven't listened to the other episodes where we've talked about WarX know a little bit about what WarX is.
All right. Well, I'm Jake Moore, one of the owners of WarX. They're among about 6 others, and they're all family and friends. We started WarX as a survival event type thing with mixed in obstacles, but now we're solely obstacle course racing. And we hold one event a year, WarX Trilogy. It's a full weekend event. We incorporate our explosions, gunfire, smoke. We've got the flamethrowers that everybody loves. And of course, we have our big 350-foot slides with the American flag painted on the side of the hill. So it's been growing every single year. This year, we may be looking at upwards of 1,000 or more. So.
See, that's awesome. It's one of those things like we always talk about, supporting those local races. And I mean, you guys are getting pretty big.
Yeah,
but
we're getting there.
Which is amazing. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just, that one weekend, and there's so many people that I talk to, with the Dealers of Hope and everything else that this is one of their like must do races.
Good week. It's a blast of a weekend. I mean, just everybody. I mean, you know how all these events are there. I mean, it's just like a big family reunion for so many, and everybody's out there having a good time. And you've got the competitors, and you've got the folks that are just coming out to have a good time. So we try to cater to both.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, a lot of people don't realize too is, I mean, the one thing like WarX, I mean, most of the other ones they talk about having, like the bigger race companies, like, oh, we have a festival and we have this party and everything else, and it's like, well, yeah, but from everything I've heard about WarX, it's like, it's not just the race, it's the experience of the whole weekend. There's so much going on along with the race that it's just a huge race and an experience in the same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what we go for. We're trying to give, we realize that people are coming from across the country sometimes, and they're paying more to get to the race, than the event itself, which is fine. But we want to make sure that experience brings them back. I joke about it. I say, I don't want to be a bucket list race. I want to be the race that you continue to come back to just because you have to. The bucket list race makes it sound like, come out once, oh, I did it, I'm done. And if we give a full experience and make upgrades and changes constantly, I feel like that makes this something that people definitely will not miss each year. So,
and that's what's amazing too is, I mean, it is every time I hear someone talk about WarX, especially after they go, they're like, did you see the new one that they put in this year, the new obstacle that they did, or this new piece that they did, and all this stuff, or how they changed this obstacle in this way that made it, so much more fun or a little bit more difficult or whatever. So it's not the same race every year, and I've seen that with other races where they keep going like to the same venue every year and they just kind of, this is how we did it last year, this is how we're going to do it this year. And you're like, woo, I've done this 5 years in a row.
Right. I mean, and for some, I'm sure some people that's, they like to know what they're getting into as well. I understand that. We don't try to hide the fact that it's a difficult race. I mean, there's, it's one of the toughest out there. We know with just the venue alone is, a challenge in itself with the hills. And so, we do try to keep it exciting and make sure that things are changed enough that, a competitor one year may have an advantage over another, but then the next year may not. It's more, obstacle dense in some spots and more open in other. So,
And I think that's great because people get into that one thing. I mean, it's like, you look at some of the bigger ones where it's the same race over and over again, just in a different venue with a little bit different terrain. So you know what to train for.
Yeah.
To train for usually a run of maybe at the most a mile or two, and then a cluster of obstacles, to train for upper body to climb over walls or do some of the hanging obstacles, depending on which brand you're looking at. You know what to train for, Spartan to lift heavy, you
Yep.
know, whatever, and stuff like that. With everything I hear from WarX, it's like, okay, I know what to train for now. I've done all this, and then all of a sudden they show up the next year and they're like, I didn't train for this because I didn't know about this. This is a completely different, almost where you come up with ideas of like, okay, well, how can we mess with them this time?
We do that. I'm not gonna lie. We sit around a lot of times and just brainstorm ideas. And we've got a handful of competitive racers that are on our team. Philip Huckey being one of them. He's a ninja warrior in the past, and he's run all the races. We have several build crew guys that are from all kinds of different races that come
Mhm.
in and stuff, and that makes it it puts us in check. I'll put it that way. Sometimes we're like, hey, let's build this, let's do this, let's make something like crazy awesome, and we'll have all of them. We'll get their opinions, and they'll say that's too much, or you could change this, and it might be okay then, and it keeps us in check. And to an extent, we're like, we want to be very difficult, but we also want to realize is that, more than probably 75% of the people out there aren't just, training for this year round. And we want them to have success on the course too. So we take inputs from all over, at the race itself. We're constantly, our entire team is asking, um, people as they finish an obstacle, as they come across the finish line. Hey, how was it? What did you like? What did you not like? And we take notes, and we have a huge after action review with our entire team on what they heard on the course, whether it's from aid stations to camping to obstacles. And then we write it all down on the board, and we make those changes for the following year. So we have an entire couple whiteboards full of changes we'll be making.
Which is good. I mean, I think that's one thing where a lot of brands and even big brands, small brands get really stuck on. Well, this is how we've done it. This has worked in the past. Let's just keep doing this. And they don't take that into consideration of like, oh, hey, what are the people? And then they question later, why aren't people returning? And it's like, because I mean,
Right.
been there, done that, or oh, it was too difficult for me, and I think it's above my level, and I think that's why you gotta have that mix of, hey, I want to be challenged, but at times I do want some successes, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I like the mix of different things. Like for me, give me something heavy to pick up. I can do that pretty well. But,
Right.
sometimes the fast, not really in my wheelhouse. But,
I
working on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you got to have something. Something's got to be out there for everybody. Otherwise, you're not. I feel like we're learning as we go as well. And we're seeing how the participants and the racers and the athletes and even the non-athletes come out, and they all need something. And we're looking to provide them not only all those things, but then the WarX experience above and beyond that. With the additions of just different aspects like shooting and battle zone scenes and things like that you just can't get at other races.
See, that's the part that gets me to want to go is the shooting portion. But no,
We got
I did one in I did one in Oregon a while back, and they're not around anymore. But they had shooting was a piece of it,
nice.
where you had to go through and do like different it was on a closed shooting range with a shooting master or whatever you call him. He was there. He made sure that we were safe and did everything correctly. But I can remember it was so funny because on one of them he's like, "Okay, I want you to pick the gun up with your left hand and shoot." I'm like, "All right." And I picked it up and he's like, "You're left-handed." I'm like,
Uh,
yes.
oh, that
Came
yeah,
back for the next, yeah.
nice.
Yeah, came back for the next round. He's like, okay, fine, do it with your right hand. And I did it with my right hand. He's like, really? And I'm like, when you're left-handed, everyone tries to make you right-handed, so I can shoot with both, you
Oh,
know. But, you know,
For
But it
sure.
was a cool one where they had that idea. It was just a different piece because the way they did it, it was points. You got points for like there was a strength portion where you got points for the strength portion, and then the shooting portion you got points for that, and then they had the obstacle course, and you got so many points for how your speed and everything. And it was
Right.
like they did it in a really interesting way. So you could have someone who was really fast but not good at shooting and everything else, and you might beat them because you were good at the shooting and the strength.
Oh,
So it was
absolutely.
an interesting way to do it, but throwing in the shooting was definitely, and I liked too, they had one where you had to do like a downrange shot with a rifle. I think it
Mhm.
was a 30-06. And I
Okay.
liked that they gave us 3 shots
No,
because
yes.
the first shot, it's not my gun.
Right.
So the first shot, I obviously I missed, but I could see I'm like, okay, I missed. I'm left and up about 3 feet.
Right.
So, you know, aim it down into the right spot, hit on the next one. And he's like, okay, so you give that chance to kind of figure out, the gun that's not yours. But I mean, it was a cool idea of throwing all that in, and that was one of those things that, I love every time I talk to you about it, WarX, is throwing in those other aspects that
Yes.
you don't see other places.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and we love. We have a lot of guys that are enthusiasts that are out there training people on site. I mean, some folks show up and they've never handled a weapon before. They've never touched one. So we prepare for all. Some run up and they're absolutely very familiar. We're taking care to make sure that there's safety on the course, but also that they are successful as well. So they get the 3 shots, and this year we're going to add some other aspects in. We've got another company that's coming in as well that want to sponsor the rifle range shooting. Top Armament and Black Rain Ordnance are both coming, so they're going to be out there on the course, and they may have some other weapons too. They're looking at maybe bringing some automatic weapons or a Ma Deuce, and yeah, I mean, do some long range shooting as well. And that would be on the Sunday event when we have some more area. But out to 6, 7, 800 yards, that's going to be something fun. People want to try that kind of stuff, and we're gonna try to support that this year.
That's awesome. See, and like I said, that it's what I hear from everyone. It's not just the race, it's everything else involved around it, where you get to, it really is. There's a reason it's called WarX. It's based on like kind of a war zone type attitude,
Yeah,
but safely.
yeah,
So,
that's what the X stands for, the experience. So,
yeah,
yep.
nice. So I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I've saw it on Facebook, a little post about some new extra stuff that you guys might have at WarX.
Yep, we're very excited about it. Couple of years in the making. Obviously, everybody loved Indian Mud Run and Hubie Cushman, and he's such a big part of OCR. And we've known about the obstacles left on the course that just we're not sure all the logistics of why and why they were still there, but we did know they were going to be there and that they would eventually be put on auction on a government auction. So we were watching closely, and we were able to get all the steel obstacles that had been made, and they were in Coshocton. We went up there. Happened to be on our build week for WarX. We were down at WarX doing some work, and made a trip up there, about 3 hour trip up, 3 hour trip back. Spent about 6 hours on scene. Had a lot of help, good crew of guys. Hubie himself was there, and just he was excited that we were getting them. Obviously, we were just as excited, if not more. So we ended up with Nuclear Ninja, Indian Valley or Skull Valley, what some of them, depending on what people have called it in the past. A big monstrosity of an obstacle. We don't have a name for it yet. And Gibbons, I think, was there. So those will be out on the course. Initial plan was it's super exciting just to have them because obviously Indian Mud Run, they were out of commission starting 2022 or the end of 2022. That was their last race.
Mhm.
So for us to be able to get those and bring them back, we were just thrilled about that. And then they're all sitting down at WarX now, waiting to be put back together. And we want to put them together in the way that they were an Indian Mud Run. I mean, there's no disguising, like saying, hey, these are our, WarX obstacles. No, these are Indian mud run obstacles, and we're proud to say it. And if they weren't so hard, we'd probably put them in like a half-mile stretch and just call that Indian mud run lane or mile. But they're just back to back. They would pretty much make that section very difficult. And we spent half the time down there last build week just trying to figure out where to put and how to spread them out and make them fit the course. We don't want to go grip to grip obstacle and crush people. So that was a lot of time was spent just searching around, like, hey, where do we put these? How do we fit them in? And we're just looking at rejuvenating them. Fresh paint, but putting them back the way that everybody remembers them. And we do know there's a lot of people out there that wanted to do IMR and never got a chance to. So, here's a portion of it they'll be able to do.
That's awesome. And it's awesome to bring back and to show, I mean, I guess remembrance or whatever, however you want to say it, for, another mud run that, went under. And I know there was a whole reasoning why that one went away. I think mainly it was Hubie retiring, kind of. But, that one went away. And I mean, it's great to see that one, the obstacles coming back and being put on and putting remembrance. Like you said, not saying, oh, this is WarX. No,
Right.
this was Indian Mud Run. And this is a portion of that, and paying
Yeah,
homage to them, which is amazing.
absolutely. I mean, that race was a absolute beast of a race for everybody. I mean, people, 1,000. I think there was maybe over 1,000 people at the last race, their 10-year, and they were from all over the place. So I mean, it's just we're excited about it because we know that they're going to add to the course no matter what and make it that much more challenging. But overall, it's just to have them out there, and Hubie will be at our race as well. I told him to bring the big Indian Mud Run sign down and make sure we're posting that out there. So it's going to be exciting.
That's awesome. I mean, that is great. That'll be something to see. One of these days, I'm going to get out there.
Oh, we got to come out, man. Once you see it once, I don't think you'd miss it again.
Yeah. And that's kind of, I'll be honest, it's kind of what I'm worried about because the one that I go up to in Washington is, it's one of my favorites. That's why I always go back for it. That's why it's been so tough to try and get not do it one year so I can go to WarX. So I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to, though. So,
yeah, take a break, try it out. And hopefully we will bring you back. We have crews from all over. California crew comes out every year, and we've had Florida shoot. We've had some Venezuela, Canadians, all of them. Everybody's coming from around, so it's a fun overall weekend. I mean, with the camping on site, we try to stay, keep everybody engaged, throughout the day, and then we have our fireworks at night, and it's a blast overall.
I mean, and it sounds like it. I mean, every time I talk to you, I'm like, geez, I really need to go do that. But I really need to get out there.
You'll be sore, no doubt. Everybody, I mean, but the bottom line is, we don't care how anybody does the course. I mean, I have questions every year, hey, what if I can't do this? Or what if I, get this, do I have to do the water or what happens if I hurt myself on the course? And we're just like, hey, look, this is your race. We're putting it on for you guys. And in the end, it's up to you. If you want to challenge yourself, if you're a competitor and you want to race through this whole thing as fast as possible and head home, that's up to you. But hey, we're here for the duration. We want everybody to have a blast and a good time and be challenged and come away with a sense of complete accomplishment, because we know what that's like. That's the big thing, is we want people to realize that, like, you just completed a very, very difficult course.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big sense of accomplishment for everyone.
Yeah. Sounds like an awesome one. So we haven't mentioned it yet. It's the last weekend in June, right?
Correct. June 28th, 29th.
June 20th and 29th. And then it's in Ohio?
Yeah, we're in Southern Ohio, about an hour and a half south of Columbus. That's where most people fly into when they're coming in. It's right out there in the middle of nowhere, and which is the reason that we can do everything that we do. It's all private land, and yeah, we've been working on it since last month, and we go down there every month for a week at a time. So none of us owners or people that work there or staffers, we don't live there. We're 3 hours away at best, so it's a
Yeah.
it's quite the trip to go down there. So we stay a week at a time and build everything up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I mean, it's about the only reason I'd ever want to go to Ohio, but
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, I don't know. It could be amazing. I've just never been there. It just never sounded like one of those places that like, hey, go to Ohio. And I'm like, no.
Well, the glory of Ohio is we generally don't have tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, and it's just a generally, I don't know, just a relaxing place, I guess. As long as you don't mind.
Yeah. See, because I grew up in Washington, and a couple of years ago I moved to Texas. So, I've been through just about everything you mentioned except for the tornado. I haven't been through a tornado yet. So every once in a while it comes up on my phone and says tornado watch, and I go outside and there isn't one. So I don't know what they're talking about. But
Right.
keep wanting to watch one, but they're not there.
Yeah. No, I was going to tell you. So this year in particular, like I said, we have some range stuff coming on. Our battle scene is going to be a lot more extreme and exciting, uh, more engaging. Um, it's going to include less obstacles. I think people are like smoked on the obstacles by the time they get to that second phase, the evening event for Battle Challenge. So we'll include some of a little bit less of that, but like the slide's always open because everybody loves to hit that slide again. So yeah, no, just a handful of changes this year, upgrades, and we're really hoping that everybody's ready. But it's looking like there's getting quite a bit of attraction at this point.
Nice. I mean, and I mean, it seems like it grows every year. Every time I talk to you, it seems like it's growing, and getting bigger, and more people are finding out about it and wanting to go to it. Because I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, once someone goes to it and they're like, "Oh my God, you got to
Yeah,
go check this out." And I hear so many people that I know that have done it. Dealers of Hope. I know they're going to be there, and I mean, they talk about how amazing it is. So
love.
I can't. It doesn't surprise me that it's growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger. So at all.
Yeah, oh, it does, and we're excited because everything we do is like, I mean, givers of hope or dealers of hope or givers,
Dealers.
dealers of hope.
Yeah.
And that's fairly offshoot from what it was. The more
Yeah.
heart than scars.
Yeah, it was more hard than scars. We're another piece of it, I guess. Is the
Yeah,
way that they're doing it. They're just rebranding. I don't know. It's
yeah.
one of those things.
So no, we're excited to have them out and Operation During Warrior, which we're
Yeah.
partnered with. And everything we do goes back into making the course better, supporting their mission. They've got coming up here in April, they've got more guys that are joining their team, and they'll be doing the training down at WarX, and they're gonna, crush those guys. I guarantee it. That's one of the most difficult things I've ever watched happen was their in-dock training. But they utilize WarX for that, and we're proud to have them, and we're able to get a lot of stuff donated in their name too to help support them and support the course and just make it better and more inviting to them all the time.
Which is awesome. I mean, I love supporting these groups. It's one of the reasons why I do stuff with, Dealers of Hope and More Hearts and Scars and all those. It's great to support those groups to get other people out there and doing these races.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and WarX just sounds amazing.
I'm
So,
amazed by the grit of some of these folks that are whatever they're dealing with, whether it's PTSD or they're disabled in some other way, but they're just the grit that they have is just incredible. And
it is.
makes us stand back. I makes me stand back every time. Just like, oh my gosh, what excuse do I have? I've got no excuse. These guys are killing it, and with
No.
a big smile on their face, and just makes me smile. So it's awesome.
Oh, it does. And you're right. The no excuse part. That I always tell you when the first time I met, there's a guy on the West Coast named Casey who has no legs,
Yeah,
double amputee. Great guy, love him. The very first time I ever saw him in a Spartan race, I'm just felt like I was destroyed. I'm wrecked. I'm like, I just want to give up. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I see him just going along, and I'm like,
dang.
guess I have no excuse. I mean, this
Right.
is literally, and it's amazing to see him out there. And it's like, I just talked to Rebecca Dene, who's is an amputee, and just talking to her about, the fact that that can happen to you and you don't just give up. There's so many people that, something half that bad happens to them and they just sit on the couch and I'm done. This is it. Life's over. And it's like, no, it's not. Keep going.
Yeah, it's amazing. They were amazing, and we love supporting them.
Yep. So real quick, can you give a kind of a breakdown of what happens over the weekend? I mean, we've talked about there's so many different things and all that. So what's the kind of a quick schedule overview of kind of like what people would expect if they went to a WarX?
Yeah, yeah. We open the gates on Friday from 4 to 8. And generally people are coming out to pre-register, packet pickup. We use the chip timing with the wristbands or ankle bands. The other ones, the bibs, never last on our course, so we have to go with those. They come in Friday, pick that stuff up. They can walk the course, check it out, play on the obstacles, see what they're in for. And in addition to that, this time in particular, maybe a little bit more stuff in the festival area as far as like some pre-training with weapon systems that we'll be using. So I know a lot of folks ask me that too. Hey, is there any training on this stuff? So in the past we haven't provided that. It's kind of like down and dirty day of, but there may be some opportunities for that this time on Friday. After that. And that's when camping is well opened up. So folks that are coming in late or what have you, they can set up camp and or get to their hotel or whatever after they've pre-registered. Saturday morning starts pretty bright and early. I think our first wave goes out at 8. Registration is open early as well for those that haven't pre-registered. First wave goes out at 8 with the competitive waves every 10 to 15 minutes after that. And then our open waves start somewhere around like 9, I believe, 9:30. The 10K portion of the race, that's the obstacle course race part, starts 8 and goes until about, usually we get people off around 4 is when they end up finishing total finish, and that includes all the open waves start later. We also have the 5K portion that people can do, which is the first 3 miles of the course. We also have the multi-lap people that's just wild to me. They just go around 3 times. Okay. But that's it's a cool award, and that's quite a feather in the cap there. So around 4 is when we get most folks off the course. And at that point, it's our next evolution is the battle challenge that starts at 6. Everybody can sign up for that. When they sign up, they choose their own wave times, but those go out every 10 minutes as well. That ends somewhere around 8:30. And then from about 9:45, 9:50, because June 28th, we have our fireworks go at that point. Festivities are happening throughout the day. Obviously, there's going to be a handful. There's going to be some contests and stuff like that are happening in the festival area, food, drink, food trucks, all that. And then Saturday finishes off with the fireworks. Sunday morning, we have a 9 o'clock shotgun style trail, or we call it the victory run at that point. It's a 5K. No, it's not flat, and you're still going to be hurting, but it generally is a fairly relaxing run for everybody. and kind of get the muscles loosened back up too. There's a lot of soreness coming into that, but once they finish that, that's trilogy medal time, and we're excited. We've got some trilogy medals. We're working on designs right now, but we'll be releasing that as soon as we get them done. But yeah, the trilogy medals obviously a big thing. So they never leave with a shortage of swag from WarX, that's for sure.
So they get a medal for each one and then the trilogy, or is it just the trilogy?
Yeah, so that's a big difference this year. Generally, what we did in the past is there was a dog tag for the 10K or 5K, a dog tag for the battle challenge, and then one for the victory run. But once you finished all three, you got the trilogy medal itself. This year, we will be doing a regular medal for the 10K and 5K. And then there will be an award for the battle challenge and the victory run, but then also the trilogy medals on the table too. You get a t-shirt. I'm trying to think. Yeah, and there's all kinds of top finisher awards as well. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of swag when you leave.
Yeah, there's no shortage of that.
I feel like I need to figure out how to get to Ohio, but
it's really easy. Just head east.
Well, it's north for me, I think. No, I don't know. Where is Ohio? I don't know. I'm not good with geology. I pretty much know where Washington is in Texas. So
right on.
But nice. So is there anything else you want to say to the listeners or anything to convince them to come out? Which if they need convincing at this point, they're not listening. So
well, I don't. I'd say, obviously sign up sooner than later. I know that's always a big thing with OCR. A lot of, the smaller races struggle with that. It's something that people always sign up late, and it is what it is. But, we're used to it at this point. So, but signing up sooner does save you money. That's a smart move. And, we love having teams. We do have pretty sweet team awards. So whether you're the most extreme team, with the fastest people crossing the line, or you have the largest team, we have that as well. So there's several different awards that you can win just by being on a big team. So no, we're excited about it. It's going to be we've had really good weather in the past here. It wasn't like crazy hot June 28th. So we'll see what happens, but we're going to be prepared for that. I got nothing else. I'm just excited to keep building and show updates and pictures and stuff that are going to be coming out real soon. April and May, we'll have some serious updates and changes that'll be coming out, and announcements as well. So
right on. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those announcements. Like I said, one of these days I'm gonna have to get out there. So for anybody that's listening, go to this race. If you can get to Ohio on June 28th, get there.
Awesome.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jake. And we will talk again soon.
All right. You have a good one, Mike.
All right. You too.
All right.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.